understand that you have a question to ask me this morning.
Yes, I do. I was wondering what the relationship between accident and injury law is and insurance companies.
So that's a great question. Generally speaking, most people, including businesses, have insurance policies. And what happens is that those insurance policies cover those individuals or those businesses when there's a claim filed against them. And those claims typically arise out of an instance where you have somebody who's been injured because of the wrongful or intentional or reckless act of another. And in those instances, what happens is that the insurance company has a duty to do what's called defend and indemnify its insured. So let's go ahead and use a hypothetical, okay? Let's say that there's an accident right outside this building today at the intersection, and one of the parties happens to run a red light. And unfortunately, they've injured another party in a different car. The person who ran the red light's 100% at fault. In California, they're required to have insurance coverage on their car. And so in that instance, the insurance company is required to defend its insured, the driver who ran the red light, and indemnify them. That means to pay the other party for any injuries that the other party sustained as a result of that accident. The problem is that insurance companies aren't looking out for the best interests of the person who's been injured. They're looking out for their bottom line. And that's why it's really important for people who have been injured due to the fault of another to consult with an attorney, because the insurance company, and I can say this having done work for them for 20 years, they're going to try to take advantage of that person that's been injured.
Does that happen often?
So I can tell you that statistically speaking, and I'm not sure where the numbers are coming out right now, 97% of cases don't see a trial. And that's because they resolve one way or another, whether or not the insurance company, after fighting with our office, finally decides to fairly compensate our client for their injuries, or if for some reason there's some type of a dispositive motion that causes the case to go away. Do you have any other questions for me?
Actually, I was wondering, earlier you had mentioned that you had switched. You were on the other side fighting for the insurance companies, right? I was wondering why you decided to make that change.
Having done work for insurance companies for 20 years, I really saw a change in the industry. And so over time, I began to really think, is this really the right fit for me to continue to do this for the rest of my career? I started to really give some consideration as to whether or not I was helping people. And I think the conclusion that I reached was that I really wasn't helping people more so than I was helping the big insurance company. Last summer, I was approached by Matt Clark and Dave Cohn. And even though I was a partner in my firm and owned 50% of the business, they said, what do you think about switching sides and coming over to work for us? And I was kind of taken aback by that, and I was humbled by it because I had worked with those guys for 20 years. Because remember, I'm on the opposite side of the fence defending those lawsuits. And so it was that moment in my mind where I said, I'm making the switch. I'm going to make the switch and I'm going to help people.
Well, thank you so much for answering all of my questions and taking the time out of your day to be here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for asking the question. I'm really glad that you did, and I wish you the best at UCSB.